Hello, fellow human light beings. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. We are currently experiencing a lunar eclipse as I am live streaming this. So we're going to talk about the lunar eclipse, what it means for what's happening at the moment, and what it means for what's coming. But what this is representing on an emotional and mental level is karmic endings. You may be experiencing some emotional turmoil, some emotional emptiness. People are definitely losing their scrambled eggs. Big stuff going on. Hello, welcome back to the channel. First off, thank you to everybody who is a faithful supporter of this channel. There's some changes that are going on to the channel, which I've talked about, I'll continue to talk about. But I appreciate everybody who not only follows the channel and does the work, but I'm also extremely appreciative of those of you who support the channel by investing in yourself in the various practices that I share with you here. So let's just give an overview of, again, what we're talking about. So we are in the midst of a lunar eclipse, karmic ending. So what is a lunar eclipse from an astrological perspective? And I'm talking Vedic astrology, which is not Western astrology. And I'm sorry to say, but Western astrology is an inaccurate science. Unless you're doing Western astrology with the sidereal zodiac, then you can be as Western as you want and you'll probably be right on the money. The sidereal zodiac, as opposed to the tropical zodiac, has to do with looking at the sky. And, you know, it's frustrating. There's a guy on YouTube who talks, he's an astronomer guy, but he's also like, I don't know, new agey sort of guy. But you know, he's a scientist when it comes to things like solar storms and the Earth and the magnetic field, and I love to listen to it. And then he'll start talking about how it applies to astrology, and he admittedly is using Western astrology, and it saddens me. If he was my friend, I'd sit him down and I'd say, look, you're a scientist. All you have to do is look at Western astrology, the view of the sky, and you look up in the sky and you'll see they don't match. They're off by 24 degrees. You look at Vedic astrology, the sidereal zodiac, and you look up in the sky, you find out that they're right on the money. So as a scientist, don't you want to follow the correct science? I get frustrated with people who don't think things through. It's my failing. It frustrates me when people aren't practically and wanting to know the truth. I like to believe that I want to know the truth more than I want to feel good. And I got a really great comment from somebody on one of my other videos who said, I've been watching you over the years and I've seen you grow and I've seen you take responsibility and change your views, and it's true. I mean, I don't need to be right about anything. I want to know the truth. And if I'm wrong, I'll be happy to tell you I was wrong. I think it's a great way to live. I recommend it for everybody. But we're talking about the eclipse. So what happens during an eclipse? So right now we have an eclipse in Virgo. The moon is being blocked out by the south node of the moon, Ketu. And so first we have to understand what the moon is. So the moon represents your emotions, your intuition. We can say the word mind, but again, to Western people in Western societies, modern societies nowadays, they conflate mind with intellect, which is something completely different. They work together, but they're not the same thing. The intellect is the part of your mind that looks at what I was just talking about. Let's get practical about this. You know, one of the most ridiculous things well-meaning people have said to me when I tell them that Western astrology is an inaccurate calculation of the sky. I don't recommend being a Western astrologer. People say, oh, well, you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's just different interpretations. And I'm like, It's not. We're looking at a calculation in the sky, and that is either accurate or it isn't. You know, so that part is my intellect. So I know what the intellect is, but the mind is not the intellect. The mind is the part of you that meditates. The mind is what gives you wisdom. The intellect can give you 3D knowledge, but the mind will give you wisdom. Because connected to the mind, the ability to see from, to see Earth from orbit, to see things from a distance, but to feel, intuitively feel what is going on. So the mind is very connected to our intuition and our emotions, how we feel about things. And so ideally, through meditation, we line up our emotions with our soul, and then our emotions serve us. But what's happening right now is that the mind is being blocked from the sun. And what is the sun? Sun is the soul. And this is played out by the word for the sun and the word for soul. So in Old English, the word for the sun was Sawul. Sawul. The word for soul is Sawul. So what does that mean? It means that the sun represents your soul. What happens when Ketu gets in between the Sawul and the mind, the emotions? Your mind feels disconnected from the spirit, which makes your emotions go crazy. I've been feeling this. I've been feeling this for days. And I just recently went and looked and did some research on what is this lunar eclipse mean? And when I looked at it in my chart, I went, oh, well, that explains everything. And I'll share that with you. So in my chart, my Virgo is my second house. I'm a Vedic Leo. So in the second house represents a lot of things, but one of the things that the second house represents is saved finances. So lunar eclipses represent karmic endings. Solar eclipses represent beginnings. Lunar eclipses represent endings. Why is that? Because the lunar eclipse happens just before the solar eclipse. So the first thing that has to happen is you got to clean yourself out of all of the karmic stuff, the stuff that you're attached to, which is what? Your mind and your emotions. We attach to things through our misunderstanding of our mental attachments and our emotions, and how we respond and how we attach based on our emotions. This is what gets us into trouble. This is what creates karma to begin with. So when we have a lunar eclipse, those things are getting taken, we're getting rid of them. So this is why it's extremely important during lunar eclipses to meditate, to be doing spiritual practices, qigong, all of that, because if you don't, you run the risk of staying attached to things that are trying to be released. And that's going to create even deeper attachment, and then, you end up in real trouble. Which is basically, if I step back, this is what the solar flash event is. I was very encouraged, because I scour the internet and YouTube looking for people who have information, true information. And I like to listen to people who have had near-death experiences. I'm just telling you right now, I don't listen to any of the channelers. My experience of channelers is that even if they're well-intentioned, they are tapping into their own unconscious fantasies and their need to placate other people. That's why channeled messages are always very supercilious, and they placate people's egos. You're a chosen one, everything's going to be wonderful. And now, even the phrase ascension symptoms, which people are trying to say they're flipping out because they're ascending. Well, I would agree with them partially, which is that the solar flash energy is hitting them, the ascension energy is hitting them, and it is seeking to transform them. But they are attached to their unresolved emotional, psychological, karmic issues. And because those things are coming to the surface, all of their fears, all of their attachments, all of their ego nonsense is coming to the surface and trying to be released, because they're still attached to them, they go crazy. And so they say, I'm having ascension symptoms, which is, again, they're trying to, I'm a chosen one, I'm a starseed. Look at, I've got this rash on my body, and it's because I'm ascending. Well, that's partially true. I don't call them ascension symptoms, I call them resistance symptoms. Because if you are truly flowing with the Spirit, I'm not saying it's easy, because I don't do it gracefully by any stretch of the imagination. But if you were truly ascending and you were this great starseed, beautiful, perfect, you would have no symptoms. You would just be feeling freer and happier. But that's not what's going to happen to the earth. And I was really grateful to hear somebody who had had a near-death experience, and he came back and he said, I knew 2024 we were going to hit an ascension, and I'm here to tell you, based on what the guides told me when I was dead in heaven, that this is going to be a very challenging period for humanity, that first all of the garbage is going to have to come to the surface. So, when you eat bad fish, the last thing you want to do is throw up. Your body wants to throw up, but that's the last thing you want to do. Now, I can remember, back in the day, high school, when I used to, party and all that, and I would drink too much, and I can remember, trying to pray to God, oh God, please don't let me throw up. Please don't let me throw up. When throwing up is the exact thing that I needed to experience in order to be free of what my body was not enjoying at the moment, which was I was filled with a toxin that needed to come out. So you're filled with not only your own karmic issues, your own past life issues. You're not only filled with all of that stuff the rest of us have. It's even more of a huge karmic ending, because we have our addiction to the third dimension. So even if you are a very spiritual person and you're very emotionally and psychologically clean, you will still have resistance symptoms, because our entire mind, our entire psyche has been programmed to the frequency of the third dimension, which is going bye-bye. And, according to many people, I sound like Trump, many people have said, but according to many people, including people who've had near-death experiences, and according to the information I was given, or at least my interpretation of information I was given by higher dimensional beings, it's coming now. It's here. So, 2024 is the year that everything shifts around. And the third dimension is what we're seeking to do spiritually, is we're getting ready to throw it up. We're getting rid of it. This is another way of looking at, not since we're in the Eclipse event, I can get, less savory, but that's really what we're talking about here. When I say that the third dimension is coming to an end, it means that Mother Earth is going to barf up the third dimension. One of the ways that some guy put it, again, this is a guy who had a near-death experience, and so I listen to people who have that, and what he said was that the people who are currently doing all the damage to the planet and to other people, that the earth is going to kick them off. It's going to get rid of them. You're not going to be allowed to be here anymore. The earth's going to throw up. We're making her sick. Our actions make her sick. Our negative, self-destructive actions, clearly the narcissistic, psychopathic actions of the dark force elite who are enslaving, killing, destroying, in the most narcissistic fashion possible. This is making Mother Earth sick. She came to me, had to have been 30 years ago. I was up in the mountains, and anyway, I felt the presence of Mother Earth. I doubted it at that time because I didn't realize, I actually, like you, if you're a human being, we have the ability, we can communicate with higher dimensional beings, we can communicate with the earth. So this was coming to me, and I kind of just decided that I was making it up, but it was a very emotional experience because I had this feeling that Mother Earth was saying, I need your help. I'm starting to get sick, she said. And I thought she meant pollution, because I was seeing air pollution coming up into this beautiful wilderness, and that was very saddening to me. But I think she meant more than that, because she is a vibration. She is a frequency. We tend to look at things as being physical, and the physical manifestation of the earth is a frequency that she is dreaming. She dreams the frequency of all the plants and the clouds and the mountains and the oceans. She dreams that. We think it's physical, but it's a dream that we're living in. And so mixed in with her dream is all of the psychopath elites who, it's not, we have to be clear about this. I'm saying this for my own sake because the more that I've seen the truth of this, the more shocking it's been to me. Because if you listen even to, people who are trying to awaken us to the narrative that we live in, and they want to, for instance, talk about big pharma and say what they're doing is they're just about money. I'm here to tell you it's far worse than that. Far, far worse than that. What the deep, dark force people want to accomplish is genocide. People have been saying ever since I was a kid, elites have been saying they want to reduce the population to 500 million. We're 8, 9 billion? It's called global genocide. So, keep an eye out. If you live in an area where there are planes that fly overhead in a crisscross pattern and it blocks out the sun, I don't recommend you living there. You don't. Why? Take a look at what's been going on in Texas. I can guarantee you, before those fires broke out over Texas, somebody was seeing planes crisscross across the sky, and it was covering things up. So they're seeking to get a hold of all of the land, all of the farmland. They're seeking to get hold of all of the resources, water. If they could, they'd charge you for air. And then they're going to use that to accomplish their goals. So I don't like talking about it. I don't even like thinking about it. But it's the truth. Don't believe me? Just look at things objectively. Use your intellect, and you'll see it. So there's going to be a lot of karmic endings about probably a lot of that stuff. But I encourage you to find out where is Virgo in your chart, in your Vedic astrological chart. Where is Virgo? And find out what the associations are in that house for you specifically as well as generally. And you're going to go through a karmic ending. In my chart, I'm a Leo, so the eclipse is happening right now. over my second house, which is finances and savings. And I'm having a karmic ending having to do with that. And what have you been hearing me complain about over the past week? What ended up happening in the lead up to this? Because what have I been saying? You know, I'm like, hey, I got everything I need. I don't have to worry about anything. Look at where I live. This is what I do. And here I am. I'm on the verge of what looks to be like possibly going viral in places like Facebook, and hopefully that'll bleed over here to YouTube. My YouTube channel has been slowly progressing day by day. Financially, it's been a disaster for me, but it hasn't been for lack of trying. I've been working my tail off, and I found out in a very unpleasant way, without getting into specifics, I got in a very unpleasant way. I found out that all of the free meditations that I've made available, like the Awakening the Immortals, the Heaven Earth Qigong, you know, all of those meditations that I have bragged about for years, that at the very least I give it to you for free, so at least do the free stuff. I've been finding out that there's no shortage of people who are using the free stuff, and they're taking their money and giving it to other teachers. And it was explained to me that, yeah, because you give everything away for free, so I'm going to go to those people. Those people don't give anything away, and I want to find out what they're. So and here I am, after I get told this, you know, a few days goes by, and I get an email from my bank telling me that I'm overdrawn. I'm not only in debt, you know, to credit card companies and things like that, but I don't have money in the bank. How the heck am I going to pay rent? I haven't been overdrawn. I can't remember the last time I was overdrawn. So that was a huge wake up. That was a slap in the face. Two of them. Boom, boom. So it's not for lack of having something to offer, and it's not for, you know, not having something valuable. It's just that I've been giving it away. And I've learned that many years ago, when you give away valuable teachings, people don't learn because they don't appreciate it. And, you know, I forget the guy's name. Probably if you're, you know, millennial, you won't know who I'm talking about anyway. He was a very famous yogi, and he used to charge, way back in the 70s, like $1,000. If you went to him and gave him $1,000, he would give you your own personal mantra seed sound. And then he would say, don't tell anybody, because if you tell somebody, all the power will go away. Now, these were, you know, white people in America. They didn't know any better, and they'd give him $1,000, and he would whisper in their ear the seed sound mantra for them. And sure enough, they'd go off and they'd practice it, and their lives would just blossom. Their spirituality would blossom. They would say, I'm so grateful that I gave $1,000 to Yogi so-and-so for this thing. And now that it's been, you know, now everybody knows about yoga, knows about mantra. It's a science that everybody across the world knows. It turns out that he was just giving basic seed sounds. Shring, kling, ring, you know, basic seed sounds that any yogi would know if they put any time and effort into it. And so we laugh and we go, oh, that guy, oh, that he's just, you know, all he was about was money. But it was very ingenious of him, because even, I don't know what his greed was about. Maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't. But the genius was that these very powerful seed sounds, he made people pay lots of money for it. And he knew that if they paid for it, they would practice it. You pay in the 19th, that would be like $10,000 today or something. You pay $10,000 for a mantra that's supposed to save your life. You're going to practice it every day. You're going to follow, and he gives you directions. You're going to follow those directions. One of the other things that was so saddening, and it has continued to be saddening for me, is that there have been people on my channel for months and years. They never miss a live stream. Many of them show up for the chat. Many of them have subscribed and gotten services from me. And then I find out that they're still in the same place that they've been. Things haven't really moved. And then the more that I dig, I find out that, you know, they're still smoking weed, or they're still drinking, or they're still doing something. And, you know, they haven't followed the specific directions that I've given them, the suggestions. And the sad part is that if you don't follow the directions, if you don't take the actions, doesn't matter how many of my videos you watch, you won't shift. I wish I could do it for you. I can't. That's my big lesson. I can't do it for you. I can't ridicule you into it. I can't bludgeon you into it. I can't throw free practices, because what I would do is I'd spend hours, sometimes days, thinking of new practices that I could give away for free on the channel. If you look in the past, if you go through my channel over the years, you will see so many meditations and so many rituals, and I give you step-by-step, very powerful stuff. And my hope is that you'll get this thing, you'll shift and you'll grow. But the lesson of this eclipse, for me, maybe for you, is that you have to do it. You have to choose it. If you don't choose it, and if you're not willing to do the practices and do the work, you will not get the results. If you want to become Mr. Olympia, sitting on a park bench across the street from Gold's Gym will not make your muscles grow. But if you go in there and pay the subscription, or whatever it is, the fee, and you go and you work out every day and you take direction from some, you know, a bodybuilder who coaches you through it, you'll see the results. I'm sitting here giving you the tools, giving you the advice, but if you don't take it and if you don't practice it, nothing will happen. You'll be in the same spot you were. You know, I just as an example, I've never known anybody that has ever said, once they've been made aware what it is they truly want to do. I've never seen anybody say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that, but first, I'm going to stay in this crappy job for another 5 years, and I'm going to save my money, and then at the end of that, then I'll have the money to go do what I want. Well, you come back to that person in 10 years, guess what? They're still in that same crappy job. They haven't left. Same thing with relationships. You're in a bad relationship. I was in one. I was married. I've been in my share of bad relationships, but I was in a bad marriage. And, you know, you keep telling yourself, you know, I'll fix it tomorrow, I'll get it together. And these things don't change. You have to do the work. You have to take the risk. You must take the action. The perfect example is Odin. Odin became king of the gods as a result of sacrificing himself to himself. Screaming, he took up the runes, it says. And nobody came to him and gave him anything to drink. Nobody helped him. He take contrary act. All of the emotions inside of him and all of the impulses inside of him that were telling him that he would die if he didn't do the exact wrong thing. But he sacrificed himself to himself, and screaming, he took up the runes. And I appeal to you to do the same thing for yourself. All right, so Karmic endings. So my karmic ending is, it's a karmic thing. This is a karmic thing I've been doing, giving things away for free, continuing to give things away for free. You know, I've got birds here that come to me and I've been feeding them. And for a while it was really cute because they'd come and I would give them, you know, pieces of nuts, and then they'd go and give them to their babies. And I thought, I feel like a grandfather. So they come every day to my balcony, and then the babies started showing up. Once they were big enough to fly here, they flew over here, and they'd be screaming and yelling, and so I'd be giving them. I'd throw it on the ground because the babies are too afraid of me, so they'd throw it on the ground and they'd get it. And then what started happening is they started hanging out on the chairs here where they can see me, screaming at me and pooping all over the chairs. Took the chairs away, and they're on the ground there, pooping on the ground in front of, and I just decided, I didn't give you that food so you could poop all over things and scream at me. So no more free food for the birds. There's plenty of things out there for them to eat. No more free rides for people on the channel. If you want to do the practices, you can do them. I will make them affordably available to you. And if you choose not to invest in them, I won't be any worse off financially. But those that do, that invest in it, they will benefit more because it'll be worth it to them. It'll be valuable to them. And so if this live stream is valuable to you as well, you can drop down some money. There's ways you can donate. I watch other people's channel and people throw down $25, $100, $50, and I'm like, geez, by the end of that live stream, that guy's got $500 in his pocket. So feel free, if you feel so inclined, if you appreciate this channel, I encourage you to invest in it because that allows me to then spend the time doing it. So having said that, the Awakening the Immortals has now officially been moved over to the shop. So you see it there. This is the thunderwizard.com website. You click on shop, and then you'll see the Maoshan Summoning the Immortals. You'll see Celestial Qigong, and you'll see the Huar Mantra Supercharging the Pineal Gland, which people have been buying. And I hope it's been helpful to you. So those will be available to you there. The Summoning the Immortals is no longer available for free on the YouTube channel, but trust me, it's cheap. If you've been doing it for 4 years, it's been up there for 4 years, feel free to show your appreciation by legally now purchasing it. You'll have access to it. You can stream it, and I believe you can download it as well. So yeah, that's my karmic shift, my karmic ending. It's a money thing because the eclipse is right over my second house, which has to do with savings and money, and so things are going to come to an end for me on that. Unfortunately, for those of you who don't like it, you're going to have to, you'll have a different experience. But that's a karmic thing, and wherever this eclipse is in your chart, there's going to be a karmic shift for you as well. Thundra just threw down $4.99. Thank you, Thundra. I appreciate that. So take a look at your Vedic chart. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it, how to find your Vedic chart, and you can do it online, plug in your information, and you can see, look what house it is, and then go look up Vedic astrology. If it's the third house, the fourth house, go Vedic astrology, fourth house. And you'll see whatever it is, whether it has to do with relationships, the seventh house, whether it has to do with career, which is the 10th house, whether it has to do with spirituality and leaving this earth, which would be the 11th house, among other things. The 12th house, not the 11th house. If it has to do with what you have to work for in life, it'll be the 11th house. If it has to do with your physical body, it'll be the first house. So take a look at that, and you'll see what is going to shift. Now, the great thing about these lunar eclipses, is that once they're done, you see the effects of them right away. So I'm cranky right now. I went surfing today. Thankfully, there hasn't been any surf for a while. That's the other thing. Let's talk about the gandanta. So the sun is in gandanta right now. Gandanta means that it's changing from a water sign to a fire sign. And whenever you have that, you're going to have to deal with fire and or water. And where I live, it's been raining for weeks straight. Just it hasn't stopped. And true, I do live in a rainforest, but usually by this time of the year, which is, we're heading into fall, it's starting to dry up and it's sunny all day. But it's been rainy and windy all day. I mean, I can't believe my house isn't floating away like a boat. But that's because we're in gandanta. So what that means emotionally, it's like walking through mud. You're going to feel stuck. So you're going to feel frustrated. You're going to feel angry. I feel frustrated. I feel thwarted. And you can hear me complaining about it. So I'm allowing you to complain about how you feel stuck. But the good news is in terms of this lunar eclipse, we're going to see an immediate shift. So that karmic ending will create a new beginning for you. My suggestion is to consciously know what that is and to meditate on it and consciously seek to let go of it and or take any actions that you need to. Like right now, I'm taking actions. If I didn't take this action, I'd be much worse off. Not only, emotionally, but financially, because this is a financial karmic issue for me. So by upgrading myself and upgrading you, by giving you an opportunity to really value the things that I offer to you, the karma has been now appeased and the rewards are going to come for everybody involved. So check that out on your channel. But in the meantime, also just be aware that we're also going through this gandanta period, which can be really, really frustrating. So let's see, what else did I want to talk about here? Emotional emptiness. Okay, so this is going to shift as well. Right now, you might be feeling it. You might be having some physical responses to it. That's one of the things that I've learned to do, is that when it comes to emotions, I do everything in my power not to let anything become a problem. Let me give you a tool to use if you have a lot of worry and anxiety. Maybe you have a real issue coming up. Maybe you really are looking at, an eviction or, something. I'm not in that state at the moment, but maybe you're in a worse position on that. What I've come to find out is that emotional reactions mean nothing. They literally have no impact on the situation. But, we humans are very childish in a lot of ways. I know I am. And I learned years ago that when I was having a temper tantrum at the world, as an adult, that what I was really doing was I was trying to guilt God into giving me what I wanted. Which, when you think about, where does that come from? Little kids do that. Little kids have temper tantrums in the hope of getting their parents to give them what they want. And what ends up happening to people like me, who grew up in homes where parents weren't really very good at meeting kids' needs, is that you have these adults who, when things don't go the way that they want, they tend to have temper tantrums. Now, temper tantrums can be explosive. You can go to a bar, get drunk, and get into a fist fight. You can crash your car. Or you can go inward and feel sorry for yourself. You can mope, complain, drink, do drugs, watch porn all day. These are all ways of having temper tantrums. And it's because you're either expressing or trying to run away from how uncomfortable you are. So what I've learned is to be uncomfortable and have the feeling, but don't get into feeling, you just don't waste your time worrying. It's one thing to have feelings and to be upset and to want something different. It's another thing to be just worried and catastrophizing You know, this is something that people do, and I've come to find out if you're catastrophizing, you're actually having a temper tantrum and you're trying to manipulate and bludgeon God into giving you what you want. We live in a society where people actually become religiously self-righteous about their catastrophizing, about their worrying. Don't believe me? Watch Fox News, watch CNN, watch any of the channels where people call themselves the chosen ones. Chosen ones that's all that they do. They spiritualize their their emotional, childish temper tantrums. So, and the reason why I say that is because as I got older, if I really worried and got upset, it would make me physically ill. I would either get, muscle spasms, or, my back would go out on me, or give myself a rash, or give yourself cold, flu, whatever. Even physical injuries. So it just doesn't serve you. So the one thing that I do, and I had to do that when I got that email, and I already knew I'm way in debt, credit card wise. I knew that rent was coming up, and I got this email saying you're overdrawn. I mean, I really wanted to, it's 12 o'clock at night. I really wanted to flip out. But I've been doing this long enough to know, okay, this problem will still be here tomorrow. And I went through the list. I said, do I have food? Yeah. Do I have a vehicle to drive? Yep. Do I have a roof over my head? Yep. Am I taken care of in every possible physical way? Yes. Well then, at this moment, there's literally nothing wrong. I have nothing to complain about at this moment. Let's enjoy everything that I have. So I went to the kitchen and I ate some tasty food, and I watched something on on YouTube or something, and I just enjoyed myself. So I encourage you to do that. And then I decided I'm going to have to take some actions. So I made a list of the actions that I could take, including doing things like summoning the immortals, moving other things onto the channel. And I came up with a whole new, you guys just wait. There is some things I'm going to be sharing with you about the merging of physics and magic. You've heard about that before. If somebody doesn't understand something, we call it magic, when it's really just science. I'm coming to find out that these practices, that especially the ones that work with different directions, these practices isn't about symbolism. It is actually manipulating the dimensional connection to higher dimensions, that they create actual scientific physical portals. And that's how people are able to, break the laws of physics. But you're really not. You're actually using the laws of physics, but you're using the powers of higher dimensions, which breaks our dimensional physical understanding. So I'm going to be sharing a bunch of stuff like that, and I'm going to be showing you how to apply that, especially with the moving 5-element forms. So just wait and see. So this is going to be a really good thing for everybody. But that's the one thing I did. I made a list of things that I could do, and one of them was, wow, I could create that. I've been wanting to teach that. I can teach that. So this shop is going to be filled with a bunch of powerful new practices that are going to blow your mind. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. So the point I'm trying to make here is that your emotions are going to be going crazy, and that's because Ketu, which is loss. Rahu is obsession in the third dimension. Ketu is being taken away from the third dimension. Literally death. So whatever Ketu is associated with represents being emptied out, something being demolished, destroyed. So when Ketu is shadowing your moon, your mind, It means that emotionally you feel disconnected from what? The sun, your soul. And there's nothing worse than feeling emotionally disconnected from your soul. It's the worst experience that can happen. And so if you're experiencing that now, the good news is that's going to shift. I know I've been frustrated the past few days. I was frustrated today. I found myself just wanting to complain and pick fights with everybody in my mind. And I know that's because, I'm very susceptible to these eclipses, lunar eclipses especially. So, that's pretty much it for today. If you're new to the channel, I didn't say this, here's what I need you to do. Subscribe, like, and comment. Go to the free playlist page. Click on the Maoshan Qigong while you can, the interdimensional meditation, and the 12 steps to 5D. The interdimensional meditation is not going to leave the channel. Those meditations that are on there will still be there. The 12 steps to 5D will also stay on the free channel. The Maoshan Qigong, those are going to be moved eventually to the thunderwizard.com shop. While you're there, I need you to subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. It is incredibly inexpensive. Not only does it keep the lights on for me, but it gives you access to a spiritual practice, an energy practice you won't find anywhere. I can say this now that I've researched it. I'm 60 now, I've been researching it for the past 30 to 40 years, and I can tell you that there has never been, and there currently isn't, any practice that is this powerful with this much in it. In the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, you are stimulating all three of the energy systems you have in your body. The first one is the Qi, the life force energy, the Qigong. And among the Qigong, it is the most powerful Qigong that is available, the Maoshan Qigong. And then there's Kundalini Yoga. So in that, I figured out how, which is not an easy thing to do, to put together both Qigong and Kundalini Yoga. So Kundalini is the fifth dimensional energy of consciousness. Again, there's a lot of people, even yogis don't know what Kundalini is. They'll tell you Kundalini is the basic life force energy, and that is not true. Chi, prana, is the basic life force energy. Kundalini is a fifth dimensional consciousness energy. Whenever you have interactions with higher dimensional beings, in fact, I just got a jolt right now, which is them saying, yeah, that's right. Whenever you get an interaction with a higher dimensional being, what they do is they stimulate your Kundalini because they live in it. They live constantly juiced up on Kundalini. So I teach you practices to do that. I teach you mantra to do that. Runes also will stimulate Kundalini. And then the third and the most powerful one is the Shin, or the heart mind. And that sounds very peaceful and happy, heart mind, but the soul, which is right here in the heart center, the soul is surrounded by a Faraday cage of electromagnetic energy. Why do you think when people die of a heart attack, you electrocute them? It's because there is always this electromagnetic energy happening around the heart. And it is designed to protect the heart from the harshness of two-dimensional experience of the third dimension. And what the Maoshan masters learned how to do with very simple movements, which I teach you, and as well as mantra and meditation and other things, what they learned how to do is they learned how to release that electromagnetic energy throughout the entire body, which is why the Maoshan monks were the only ones that could walk into a haunted house and drive away demons with the power of their bare hands. That comes from the heart-mind energy. So there's no other practice anywhere in history or currently found anywhere that gives you all three of those. I give you all that for almost nothing here at the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. You got nothing to lose to check it out. So that's what I need you to do. Subscribe, like, comment, go to the free playlist page. You can do the interdimensional meditation, the 12 steps to 5D. I recommend you do one of those things every day. The Maoshan Qigong will still be there for a while until I get it all moved over. And yeah, there's that. Last thing, you see 923.thunderwizard.com. That's going away very soon, probably within the next couple of days. So if you've been waiting to take advantage of that package, now's the time. Next, when I come on here and that 923.thunderwizard is no longer there, it means it's gone. It's gone for good. So we're going to go back to the original pricing that I had for those 5-element Maoshan practices. Is that it? If you're coming here from Facebook, do me a favor and subscribe here to the YouTube channel. I'd like to get more and more people on this YouTube channel. All right, so that's it. I've done all the business. Let's see what we got in terms of any comments or questions. If you've got a question, do me a favor, write the word question, because there's a good chance I will pass it by just because there's a bunch of comments. So I see a question here. Well, let me see this. Somebody, is this a question? No, this is not a question. Chun Lee Chess says, if summoning the immortals works for me on sign level, I don't know what that means. I will look into your other stuff. Well, I don't know why you're saying that. I mean, unless you're planning to purchase it. So go to the shop, go to thunderwizard.com, to the shop, and you see it there. It's real cheap. I think it's only 29 bucks. And yeah, well, I'm glad. If it works out for you, go for it. Let's see. Thundra, question. Do you have any suggestions on how I could prepare for a karmic ending in my 9th house? Well, so karmic ending in your 9th house, that's going to be pretty big. So you're going through a big spiritual transformation here, because that's the 9th house, right? 9th house, I think, also is, I think it might have to do with the father. Maybe you'll have a karmic shift, karmic ending having to do with daddy issues. But, you know, I don't remember what your astrology is, but, you know, what other planets are there, or what sign it's in, you know, those things are going to have a big effect also. So how to prepare? I mean, how to prepare for the unknown, it's kind of hard to do. The only way that I know how to prepare for this stuff is to meditate. Know that it's coming, know that it's here, and meditate, and don't catastrophize. Don't flip out. Don't take any destructive actions. You know, do things like, avoid doing things that screw with your consciousness. Avoid recreational drugs, alcohol, you know, whatever anybody's, favorite vices. Put that aside, sacrifice that, and just do. And I know, Thundra, you're already, you know, a daily meditator, so I don't know how else to prepare other than to do that. On some level. All right. That's what Chun meant to say. All right. Nothing else? That's it then. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I appreciate all of you being here. And again, I appreciate everybody who does the work. Because every time that you do anything to empower yourself, to shift your consciousness, you empower me, because I'm connected to you. So is everybody. And when you do the work to shift your consciousness, all other conscious beings, including the gods themselves, bow down and worship you, because you shift them up every time you shift up. So I want to thank you all for that. Thank you all for the support. Again, all those of you who have been supportive of the channel and continue to support the channel, I appreciate that. and your well wishings are well received on my end. And so, as always, if the solar flash don't come, and or I don't get beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, and or if I don't shift myself out of this third dimensional reality, I will see you all very soon. A lot of big things coming between now and the solar eclipse. Just hang on to your seat, because crazy things are going to start happening. You know, this rest of this year, just be prepared. Yeah, please take very good care of yourselves. I love you all, and I will see you all very soon. Question your reality. Online classes and personal mentorship at thunderwizard.com.